So in this tutorial, I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to keep your drawing symmetrical. Now, a couple of people have asked me before on, how do you get things aligned and remaining symmetrical as you proceed through a drawing, right? Now, that's definitely one of the most challenging things that people generally struggle with. How to keep like the eyes, symmetrical in relation to each other. How do you keep both sides of a drawing or whatever you're drawing? Now, I'm going to be using in this tutorial the face as an example. However, you can apply this to just about anything, virtually anything, okay? And a few things that I'll point out before I go on is that in my tutorials, you notice that I generally stress or emphasize the importance on relying on simple to complex, learning how to think in simple ways, visualize things in simple terms. That is very important to how well you can use your imagination to break things down in a way that makes it easy for you to draw. And two, when I draw or show you certain techniques or tips or concepts, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to literally draw them, okay? But what's important is that you should think about these things. Now, if you're just in the beginning and you're learning how to draw and so on, you may find it necessary for you to draw these things, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, you will find that the more you practice, the more unnecessary you'll find it to like lay down construction lines and so on and so forth. But the thing is, even when you don't lay them down, you should be thinking about them. And that's the thing that I think a lot of professional instructors or professional artists who are instructors may not necessarily share with you. That they may just seem to just magically put down whatever they're drawing as if they don't think about what they're doing. But believe me, all these things are going on in their heads. They just don't reveal that to you. So when you're drawing and you want something to be symmetrical, the most important thing, I think above all these four main things that I'll share with you, the most important one is that you should have a center line. Okay? You should have a line that goes down to the center of whatever it is you're drawing. Now, this line may not literally be drawn in your drawing, okay? However, it should be there in your mind. You should either see it visually or put it down literally. And you can put it down lightly. It doesn't have to be as bold as I may have it here, but I'm doing this for, demonstrative purposes, okay? Now, in addition to a vertical or center line, and this is a center line, but understand that vertical lines are important. So that's the first way to ensure or maintain some symmetry in your drawings, using a vertical line. The next thing is to use horizontal lines. Okay, that's the next thing that helps to keep your drawing symmetrical. And from here, the next thing you use are simple shapes. So for example, let's go over here. It's much easier for me to, let's say we have a center line there, right? It's much easier for me to duplicate this shape, right, as opposed to duplicating this shape on the other side. See, it's not easy to do this. So in other words, if I were to make this side identical to this one, I wouldn't start out by making the shape as complex as this. I would do something like this. You see what I'm saying? I would make it more geometric. I would simplify the shape. And then from here, I can go on and round it up. See, you think in simple terms, and this applies to drawing virtually anything you're drawing. It could be a vase, it could be a flower, it could be anything that you want the sides to be symmetrical. Simplify it. Imagine it using simple shapes: a circle, a square, a triangle, anything that is simple. That and it's common sense. It is simpler and easier. It is easier to draw a simple shape than it is to draw a complex one. But for some reason, we like to complicate things, okay? But I'm telling you, practice thinking of things in simple ways, and it will make it so much easier for you. So let's go back to this little setup we have here. So we have this vertical down, we have this horizontal. Let's say we're going to place the eyes on this horizontal line, right? So first thing is, of course, we know the true shape or natural form of the eye, is like something like that. All right. However, am I going to draw that? Not necessarily. I'm going to first put down some little pointers. Let's say I'm going to put down some little markers here, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to determine the distance between the eyes. Okay, distance between the eyes are normally like an eye apart. That's a general guideline. The eyes are one eye apart. So in other words, you're drawing three eyes. Okay, so I'm going to start my eye. See that? That's how I would start it. Why? Because this is easy to duplicate on this side. I'm not trying to start out by making the eye, draw the eye initially in its natural form. No, I'm going to use something very simple that's easy to duplicate. However, now let's point out something else. In addition to duplicating this along the horizontal, I want to also get the height right. Because if I don't, I can end up having the eye look like this. See that? That's not symmetrical. Okay, so what would I do then if that I don't want that to happen? Well, if I don't want that to happen, what I do is I run a horizontal line across the top like this and across the bottom like this. Now I advise, if you're not used to this type of practice using guidelines like this, you should do it. And not doing it meaning it shows that you're inferior or you can't. No, it's good practice because it reinforces good habits of perceiving and observation, because it makes you aware that, you know what, this is the type of relationships you should look for. See, so by drawing that line, it reminds you that, okay, I should know that the top of my eye should touch this line. The bottom of my eye should touch this line. One is using vertical lines on a center line and vertical lines. 2 is using horizontal lines, and 3 is using simple shapes. 4 is, where is it? You use a divider or compass, whatever it is. This is a very useful device. Why? Because it helps us to make measurements. See, so you can make sure that the eye is the same size and, same length or width on both sides. See, very useful device. However, not everybody has stuff like this. So what do? Simple. You use the edge of your pencil. Whatever it is that you're drawing with, you can use that. If you're using a pencil like this, it's the same thing. You just use the point and use your finger, the end of your finger, to make a little nudge right there, and that marks the width of the eye. I do the same thing over here. Put a little mark. And I know that, okay, the eye will end here. So I already have the width. And that's it. You use center lines, horizontal lines, basic shapes, and a measuring device if you want to. And that's using, you don't have to use something as fancy dancy as this is. You can just use the tip of your pencil or pen, whatever it is you're drawing with, and use your finger. And that's it. See that? And if it's extended, if the object is far away from you, that's when you would extend your hand and you'd use the technique known as sighting. Okay, very simple way of just measuring things and making sure it's on the same on the other side. And believe me, the more you practice this, the more you refine your judgment to the point where you can just eye things and just know that, okay, that's a good approximation of the same length, and you'll get better at it. So going back to this, so see here I have the line here. So all I have to know is that, okay, my eye will touch there, and it will touch this line down here. See that? And I've got that symmetrical. Now, what about the nose? Okay, say you know that, okay, the nose will be somewhere down here or whatnot. And then it's pretty easy. All you have to do is just use a simple shape, and in this case I'm going to use a triangle. So I know that, I'm going to use vertical lines again here. I know that the nose may not extend beyond this line. So I'm running down lines, vertical lines from here all the way down, and from here all the way down. So that tells me that the nose will be this distance from here and this distance from here, it's equal on both sides. If not, what generally happens is you can have your nose and looking like this. See? Because it is not symmetrical. different distances, different places up, you know, it's just all out of place unless you're deliberately trying to make it look like that. However, if you're trying to make it symmetrical, these are the guidelines that are good to have in place. And as I said, you can have them literally or you can visualize them. But there's nothing wrong with putting down little lines. Do not think it makes you look amateurish or whatever. Professional artists, when they're really concerned about accuracy, they do this, okay? It's just that they can erase it afterwards and you have no clue what they did in the preparatory process, okay? So I have like this. All I can do now is just sketch in a little shape. Just like that. And that will be the space that will contain my nose. So I know that, you know, eventually you can go in and start refining it, see? And notice that I'm keeping things geometric. Geometric shapes are easy to handle, okay? Very easy to handle because you're just straight lines. Everybody can draw geometric shapes. But when it becomes more organic, more lifelike, then that's when the complexity begins, and it may be a little bit more challenging to maintain that. So here I am just laying in the basic shapes, even the eyebrows. I can just, okay, I know that the eyebrows will be somewhere here. I just run a horizontal up here. See that? Now, I know that, okay, the eyebrow will end right outside the eye, like here. Okay? I make sure I measure the same distance on this side, and I put that up. See? So I know that my eyebrows will not go past here, will not go past here. And inside it will start, say, maybe here, inside, on the inner corner of the eye. And then I have that it goes up and goes down to this line. Goes up and goes down to this line. See that? You're creating a symmetrical drawing. And now with the lips, it's pretty easy. So, okay, say we determine that the line between the lips are going to be here. Now, see, if I'm not careful, I can have the, you know, this is the center line. I can have the lips ending up like so. See, this side is wider than this side. And see, and you have to be careful when drawing the lips, because if not, you can have your face or the mouth or the lips looking like it's expressing something, like it's a smirk or something, and you didn't really intend to, okay? So you have to be careful of that. So what do? You make sure you drop down a horizontal line, and make sure it's horizontal, because if not, it will be slanted, and that is like giving a smirk, okay? So you keep it horizontal. These lines are all parallel. See that? Now, before I draw the line, the shape of the upper lip or lower lip, I make sure I put down a little nudge, a little point, a little marker that will determine where will the corner of the mouth or lips be, okay? So I can say, okay, it will align just outside the edge of the nose, or, you know, inside where the pupil may begin, about right here, okay? So I may drop down a little vertical like that. And I do the same thing on this side. And I can verify that the distances are equal on both sides. See that? So now I can just lay in a basic shape. See, I'm not drawing the exact curve just yet. I'm not putting in the curve, you know, just yet, because it may not be easy for everyone to do that. I may end up having it look like this. Not cool, right? So I use this point as the apex. This is the highest point, okay? So I just have a little half a oval or half a circle or whatever, a little rounded curve that peaks here and is symmetrical on both sides. Now this is easy. All I do is just draw a V here. See? And I know that that V will definitely be symmetrical about the line, just like that. You see that? So I'm basically maintaining symmetry still. Even here, I can draw a line here. Even though this line may be erased when I'm done, I can just sketch that in, because that's going to be just a little marker. See? Because you can erase a lot of these lines when you're done, and nobody knows what you did. See that? You can erase that away, nobody knows. See? Put a little nudge there and a little nudge there. Now, what about the shape of the face, right? Let's start putting that in. Now, again, it goes back to my example here. The shape of the face may actually be as complex as this. However, this may not be that easy to get. However, it's much easier to get a shape like this on both sides. Right? See? So basically, all I have to do now is I'm just going to sketch in a general shape like so. See that? I'm pretty much doing what I did here. And over here I do the same thing. I just sketch in a basic shape. Now, what I didn't mention here that you would definitely do is you make sure you measure a distance, say from the corner of the eyes to right here. And I'm going to say, okay, this line is going to run through this distance. And I measure the same distance from here to here on this side, like that. And I'm going to make sure the line runs through this line. And that's how you get the size of the face to be symmetrical. The same thing with this, see? Corner of the mouth to here. And I do the same corner of the mouth to here, to make sure that the line runs right through that. Now, people have different size chins. So in other words, this person's chin may be wide, this person's chin may be narrow. How will I deal with this? Well, it's pretty simple. Where the chin is, you put a little, you make sure you know the center line, right? Then all you got to do is just determine, okay, how wide will this person's chin be? Let's say the person's chin is this, you know, from here to here. Well, it's pretty easy. All we have to do is just measure this distance, make a little nudge, measure this, make sure the same distance on the other side, make a little nudge, and then this will be the base of our chin. And then from this point, it will go like up. See that? Now, this is getting, of course, the person doesn't have a perfectly oval face like this. This is just maintaining, getting a basic sense of the person's, the shape, a basic sense of the shape of the head. Okay, or the face. Now, of course, the face will be a little bit more complex. So, for example, we may have to put in where the jawline is, where the cheekbone is, and so on and so forth. How do you do that? Well, use the main guidelines. Say we have the nose line, we have the lip line, we have the chin line, right? And we have the eyebrow line, we have the eye line. You use those lines as your guides. So now we have the basic shapes, verticals, horizontals, and you're doing some measuring. Those four techniques will carry you right through the way. Now, say we want to put in the cheek. Where does the cheek actually enter in? We look at the subject we're drawing. I'm just drawing this on my imagination, but let's say you're looking at the person, right? And you notice that the cheek comes in right here, okay? What do? Well, you make sure you look at this horizontal, see that? And you say, the cheek seems to come in line with the corner of the eye right here. See, I'm making the line. You make sure you make the same line on the other side. Right there, right? And it falls on this line. And also, I noticed that around here is when it starts to curve in. Right here. You do the same thing on the other side. Right here. See? So now, it's just a matter of connecting this line to this line. You see that? Now, you say the jawline seems like it's generally right around where the line between the lips are. So right here, you see like a little angle. So what do? We're going to make sure that the same point on this side, same point on this side. You come down a little bit, and this is where the jaw seems to come in. There's a little shift, a slight shift in direction right here. See that? And it's coming from right here. Same point right here. Goes in, and then there's a little shift in direction right here. You see that? So now you're getting a more elaborate or more true to the natural form type of a contour. It's not as oval as this. But see, this is how you start simple to complex and build it gradually. Now, what about up here? So you notice that the edge, there's a shift in plane right above where the eyebrows end, right here. Right above the outside of the eyes. And you make that little nudge there, you make that little nudge here. So you notice that it comes out like that. See? Same place here. Comes out like that. See? So now here is the cheekbone. Here's the cheekbone. Now what about the ear? Well, you notice that the ear seems to end right at the eyebrow line, right here. Right at the eyebrow line, like right here. And you notice that it comes all the way down to the base of the nose right here and right here. Good. Now, how far out am I going to have it? Well, you say something like this. Well, from my judgment, it looks like it seems to come out like about the same distance from here to here. It seems to come out the same distance. So you measure from here to here. See? Or you may eye it. I'm just measuring it here just to make sure. So it's about this point. On right here. And don't be afraid to judge distances, because that's how you get better at it. You judge distances and you'll get better at judging distances. Okay? So now I know that it's here. This is the top. So I do the same thing on this side. From here to here, here to here. Okay, so you can have a sense of a little box that you know the ear will fit into. It won't go outside of that. See, you're making sure you keep things symmetrical. So see this point? It's almost like it's aligned with the eyebrow right here, aligned with the eyebrow right here. That's where the ear goes out of. See that? Ear goes out to the top and then right to that point. Ear goes out to that point and then goes out to this. See that? Now it comes in to the side of the cheek right here. That's where it ends. See that? Right to here. So where it ends. And I just make one sweeping line coming in, one sweeping line coming in. You see what I'm saying? So that's the basic approach that you continue with. You know, and even with the side of the head, you may notice that it comes out to where the ear is. Like that. You just sketch up a little line along here. See? So you're getting a general sense of, okay, where are things in line to everything else? But I notice that I'm starting out very simple. And the same way I started with a simple contour for the head or the face, and then it eventually gets a little more complex as it reveals the real form of the face. Same thing I would do with the ear. So the same thing I do with the head, I do with the features. See the same nose, see how simple the nose is? Eventually this nose would get a little bit more complicated as I get more and more detail. But that's basically it. And if you keep using these four things, as I said, you use 1, vertical line, 2, horizontal lines, 3, you use simple shapes, and 4, you measure. And those are the icons that I used to remind myself until it became like engraved in my memory. Vertical lines, horizontal lines, basic shape, and I measure. Those 4 things will help you to get just about anything symmetrical. And as I said, this relates to the face, but you can apply it to drawing virtually anything. And that's it.